Hey guys, Arundel here. It's come to my attention that some of you are struggling to determine what gear you need, what your best secondary stat is, and most importantly, how to sim out your gear. So I'm going to make this little guide here to show you how to do it really quick. Pardon the uhs and ahs, because it's an unscripted video. So, first things first, we're going to come into World of Warcraft, and you're going to make sure that you have the Simulationcraft add-on. Simulationcraft add-on can be found here, simulation.com, add-on simulationcraft files -all. I'll put a link in the description. Once you have this installed and you reload it in WoW, you're going to do /sim-c. This is going to bring up a string for you. From here, you're going to hit Control-C to copy this. This collects all of your character's information, gear, things in your bags, things in your banks, stuff like that. Then we're going to head on over to the Raidbots website. You have two options here. One's a premium option. One is a free option. With premium, you'll have more combination options, so you won't have to sim as much. And you'll also be able to use the drop optimizer feature. So for our sake, we're going to use top gear. And you can see in game, I've got my current gear equipped. And you can see that I have like 9 options here, right? These are just pieces that I've collected and not used. It's important to keep all of your old gear because you never know what's going to produce more damage. Oftentimes, item level is important and your primary stats are important. But sometimes you'll push certain stats far enough that other stats will become more valuable. It's called diminishing returns. Anyways, going into raid bots. You can see mine's already filled in here, but you're going to paste the string that you just found. It's going to bring up all your stuff. It's going to bring up your items, spec, all that. Item sets, you're going to put minimum set bonuses 4. This is going to make sure that your raid tier set is guaranteed to be at 4, so they're going to make sure you have your 4 set. You can largely ignore these. We have, at this point, unlimited catalyst charges, and you know how much crests you're going to get each week. Okay, so you come down here to your gear, and you can see everything's highlighted that you have equipped. So what you want to check is the other gear, right? So I want to check to see if Omission of Light's better. I want to check to see if Bifurcation Band is better. Vessel to Torture Souls, whatever, right? You only have so many iterations you can do down here. Mine's at 5.5 million. I believe the free version is 700,000. But yeah, we'll click through this, see what my best pieces are, right? As we go down, we'll see enhancements. Most important thing here is not to click replace existing gems and enchants. This is just for testing out which gems and enchants are going to yield the most DPS. Down here, keep this all blank. Consumables, we would test this normally, but again, you're limited on iterations, so don't worry about this. Talents, you can leave as is. That's fine. I'm getting a little error because I don't have this enchanted. So we'll just unclick it for now, but we can test out the enchants later, right? So if I scroll down here, simulation options is going to be closed. You're going to want to open it. If you're testing out your Mythic Plus damage and you're trying to do a lot of damage to many adds, you're going to do 5 bosses. If you're testing a raid boss, you're going to do 1. Most people are going to be doing raid bosses, so 1, and this will be set to default. Okay, and then we're going to hit high precision, 2 times more precise, 4 times as slow. And we're going to find top gear. This is going to load up the sim for us. So what it's doing here is low precision is quickly simulating all the different options. Medium narrows it down, and it's more precise. And then high narrows it down to its absolute minimum for the most precise. So items that are just barely different from each other and items that are just straight up better. So this is our report. Doesn't take too long. You can see what my theoretical DPS is on a single target patchwork fight. It shows you right here what your best pieces are, but more importantly, if you scroll down here, it will show you your top gear, right? So you can see that nothing that I have equipped is worse than what's in my bags. Relative DPS just changes the number to 1%. But essentially what you're going to see is equipped right here. And then if you were to have better item options, it would show them above this, and it would show a percentage of how better they are. Now, a pitfall to watch out for is if it's a side grade, right, it'll highlight it. But your percentages that are like plus 0.1%, plus 0.2% are really inaccurate. So don't waste your time gemming and enchanting those pieces, because it's a simulation and the precision is so tight that there's like RNG and different procs and stuff that can really make that 0.2% completely irrelevant. So if it's like at a micro decimal better, don't bother, just keep what you have. Okay, next step. Now that we've got this, and if you have an account, you can see it will save your log up here. So if you accidentally click or reload. Next, we're gonna go back to Raidbots, Top Gear. Remembering what we just got for our last sim, right? We can see that these are our best pieces, right? If any of these changed, you'll want to change them in the next Top Gear sim, right? So again, going the free version. If you have premium, you can do this all in one go. So I already have all my Top Gear equipped, so I don't have to worry about it. 4-set, same thing, right? If you, for instance, found that a certain piece in your bags is better than what you're currently wearing, you're going to click it and unclick your regular one, right? Looks like I'm getting an error here. I don't know what the error is for. Select more items to resolve other constraints. Sure. If you have a different piece, click the different piece, and the different pieces... If the report gives you, just put all your report items in the slot. Okay, so once we've clicked all of our best in slot items, right, we're not clicking anything extra, just what we have on the report. We're going to come down here, we're going to hit replace gems and enchants, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check enchants that we might not know, right? So using method.gg, stay away from icy veins. Some wowhead guides are fine. You can get a rough idea of what stats you want and what enchants it recommends. So for example, if I go to archon.gg, this is a good place to get rough stat ideas, right? So I hit raid, I'll hit tank because I'm a tank, and then I'll click paladin. You can see that the vast majority of performing paladins are running haste, then crit, then mastery, then verse, right? So what does this tell me? This tells me that according to method.gg, acuity of Rendora is BIS, right? But I also value crit and I also value haste, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click Berserker's Rage, which is haste, and I'm going to click whichever one's crit. I don't remember. Crit, right here. Draw Lies Precision, right? Perfect. Now, when I do my simulation, it will run those 3 enchants and tell me which one sims out the best, right? Once you have an idea, you don't have to mess with these too much, right? Powered Hex of Leech. When it comes to Leech and Mending and Speed and Avoidance, it's generally better to just take Leech. Even healers will get a percentage back of their healing as Leech. I know it's a little confusing because Leech is, you damage them and you get a little health back. So generally, I would just recommend running Leech in every slot. Avoidance is fine, but you really shouldn't be getting hit by AoE. Speed is speed. Okay, chest, Mark of Nerlac, Mark of World Soul. Legs, Blood Armor's Kit, Forest Armors. Feet, it's going to be Leech again, right? I know the names, but you can hover them if you don't know. Leech, Leech, Leech on your tertiary slots. And then rings are interesting. It might take you over cap, so you might have to do rings separately. But we go into... Yeah, we just click all of these. Or, well, I guess we only get 4. What am I missing? Oh, Critical Strike Effectiveness. I don't click this one. This is just how much extra damage your crits do, right? So at this point, you're going to be iteration locked, right? So I believe it's like 700,000 or 500,000, right? So I'm just going to stop here, even though I could personally go further, right? Then we're going to run another simulation. Okay, and we're back. That took about 4 minutes. But you can see here we have a couple of updates. So now that we've simmed out all of our enchants, it tells me that my chest is actually a higher DPS with Mark of the World Soul, and that my rings would actually be doing better if they had Nature's Fury enchanted on them. So I go down here again to Top Gear, and you can see, you're supposed to be able to see, your equipped gear. Relative DPS shows you the percent, and it'll show you what differences will make the most percentage increase to my DPS. So if I roll all the way up to the top, I can see that adding crit 2 to both of my rings and adding primary 2, which is Mark of the World Soul, to my chest will yield a 0.5% DPS increase. Again, this is substantial versus something like 0.2. You see how these are blue? These are side grades, right? These are margin of error improvements. If the percentages confuse you, you can always unclick relative DPS and it'll show you 95 additional DPS. That's within the margin of error. Up here, 200 DPS. That adds up over time. Okay, so now that we have our enchants, right, we're going to do this again. And I know that that sim was pretty long. It is a little rough, right? It's run sim again. Okay. And now we know that those pieces will sim better with different enchants. So we uncheck all of our enchants. We change the check as we have equipped. So we change to Mark of the World Soul because we saw from the report that that was our new best enchant, right? And then that both of our rings will be Nature's Fury. So we uncheck this. And that was equipped fine. That's good. So now we have a nice clean enchants. We know all of our enchants are perfect. And we only have 10,000 iterations. Next, we go into gems. You may have to sim these separately. I'm not sure what it'll allow you to do with your iterations. But primary stats are almost never worth it because you get a 17 stat budget for primary gems. And then you get a 23 stat budget for all the double gems, right? So for like some verse, some crit, right? So we'll click through all these. And that'll put us at 125. So it looks like you guys will be able to do that. So, okay, max selection is 13. Perfect. You can check these, but you'll have to check them one at a time. Most of the time, the Indecipherable is better. A flat 13 armor on the Stoic Eversong Diamond, useless to tanks, doesn't do anything. Better to have 32 primary stat. Powerful Eversong Diamond is interesting if you sim this out and you get multiple colors, but what's more than likely going to happen is you're going to sim this out and it's going to assign the same color gem to all of your slots, right? So, Indecipher Eversong is the it's the default, right? And default for a reason, too. There is another gem that's a healer gem, but as Raidbots doesn't sim out healer stats, no reason to use this. Raidbots just sims out DPS. For healers, you would use something called Questionably Epic. Okay, so we've got all our gems, and then same thing. We're just going to go ahead and find top gear. Great. Now we've completed our gems. We can, I'm pretty sure, see that our DPS is ever so slightly increasing with every sim. So 545, 809. It'll be bigger and more sweeping if you're not in my position. In my position, I have a bunch of good pieces already. And I've equipped mostly the best items. So it'll be bigger jumps for you guys. And you'll do this sim, at least the gear side of it, every time you get an upgrade from dungeon and you're not sure if you should equip it or not, right? Largely, you can just follow the stat priority I showed you on archon.gg. Okay, so we can see here, again, it's highlighting these because they're not equipped. I already selected them, so that's fine. And you can see that Flawless Versatile Garnet is actually my new best gem. Important to note, gems are expensive, and the DPS upgrade they give you is rather low. So really try to keep your gem upgrading to myth track pieces and above. This will help you target your myth track pieces, but still. Okay, so we can see that equipping a versatile gem to our belts, equipping a versatile gem to our 2 rings, having the proper enchants, will result in a 0.6 increase in DPS or 240 in DPS. Excellent. Last but finally not least, we're going to run this in a 4th time. Again, you don't want to have to do this every single time. Largely, you can focus on your primary stats, farm out the gear, and then you know, sim out the micro details once you're pretty happy with where your gear's at, where you personally feel that there's not a lot of upgrades to be gained. Pasting our SMC again. Okay, 4 set. All the gear that's our best in slot is selected, and we're not selecting anything else. All the enchants are selected. And now we know from our last report that our new best gems are Critical Strike and Versatility. So we'll uncheck everything but Critical Strike and Versatility. And you can probably see the pattern going on with this. Finally, last but not least, we're going to select all of the flasks. We're going to select all the potions except for Potion of Zealotry. And we're going to do primary stat and secondary stat. This will let you know which DPS is higher, whether it's a Harndar celebration or a Blooming Feast. Blooming is secondary, Harndar is 50, primary. Okay, 245 iterations, find top gear. And this one shouldn't take very long. Great. Now we can see we're up to 393, which is a great DPS increase. And we can see what our primary consumables are going to be. These will change, like I said, as we push those levers in different directions. So more crit, less verse, etc. It'll change the consumables you want to use to optimize your DPS. Okay, so we can see that Silver Moon Parade, which is our primary stat, is going to be the best increase. And that Drought of Random Abandon is going to be our best increase. Now, quick aside about Drought of Random Abandon, right? If you're someone who is struggling to look at your character and you're more focused on your buttons or your raid frames, this is going to be something that's a little difficult to use. It's going to give you 774 primary stat, but it's going to put a circle at your feet that will silence you indefinitely while you're standing in it. So it might be better for you to use the other potion, which is like the potion of light. Oh, the light's potential. This is the same primary stat increase, just about 90 less, but no void circle underneath you. So if you're not comfortable dodging that void circle on pull, then just use light's potential. Otherwise, it'll sim out the secondary potion, which is Potion of Recklessness, and you can just use that freely. Great, so now we have a complete optimized gear setup, gem setup, and enchantment setup. So now we're good. So now the next time we get a piece, we know what to do. From this point, that's all you need to know for the base level raid bots. You can close the video now. Going into the next section, we're going to look at the Droptimizer, which is more of a premium feature. You can still use it. However, it's going to have a caveat that you essentially have to click through every single dungeon and then find your Droptimizer for each of those. And then you would have to compare 9 pages together in addition to the raid upgrades to see where your DPS upgrades are. So I'm not going to be going over that. Raidbots Premium is $5, $5 a month. So if you want to do it, you can watch for it. So going to Droptimizer, and then we're going to go ahead and duplicate the tab and paste in. Okay, there's 2 selections. The first selection is going to be Season 1 raids. The second selection is going to be Mythic Plus dungeons, right? All dungeons, Season 1 raids, right? We're going to go down. We're going to do upgrade to 6/6. This is going to take all of your gear and put it to its highest eye level. It'll basically tell you what your best item's going to be when it's completely maxed out. So if you have gear right now, that's going to be your best item, but it's just not maxed out yet, it will take that into account. Clear as mud? I hope so. Add vault socket, yes. Preferred gems is weird. Like I said, we sim for our gems to find out what the best gems are. You could put in your simmed gems here. However, it changes as you switch your gear set. So I would just leave this blank. Same thing here. Add socket, because eventually you're going to have your pieces and you're going to have great vaults to add the sockets to the optional socket pieces. Right, so we scroll down. All of this is here. Yep, perfect. All of this is here for raid. Great. Right, same thing. If you want to fight Mythic Plus, 5 bosses. If you want to raid, 1 boss, right? So we have 2 of these now. Now this is going to take some time, because what this is going to do is simulate your current gear against every item in the game. Okay, so I'll again skip ahead once this is finished. We'll run the Droptimizer here, and then we'll run the Droptimizer here. Okay, and we're back. That does take quite a little bit of time. Not as long as enchants, but quite a few minutes. So we're waiting on Mythic Plus to finish up here, but we can go over to the Droptimizer. Right, so we are going to see all of our info up here, and we're going to have a list. So this is the raid simulation. So we're going to have a list of all the bosses. that drop our upgrades, right? So, um, again, this is all considering myth track pieces. So certain bosses, unless you raid mythic, you're not going to be able to get that mythic gear. However, if you do mythic, you'll know what your best in slot is, and if you get the heroic version of that, you can always sim it with top gear. Helps you know what to roll for, helps you know what to target farm, especially with the new Void Core system. So we sort by priority. Priority is the highest DPS increase. So we look at where everything drops up here. I'll tell you the expected value. But really, we're going to go down to the Droptimizer, which looks very familiar to the top gear. And show all variations is a little confusing. I would just leave it alone for now. Relative DPS and DPS increase, right? So we know that Signet of Starved Beasts is going to be a 0.9% upgrade. We know that Sindora Ban of Hope is going to be a 0% upgrade, a 0.8% upgrade. Important to keep in mind that these upgrade numbers are in comparison to your gear when it's fully maxed out. Right, so when your gear is fully maxed out, you're going to see this upgrade. If you're using a heroic track piece or a piece that's not fully upgraded, this increase is going to be much more substantial than just 0.9%. It's going to be a huge increase. So we're going to click off relative DPS just for sake of keeping track of things. We'll check on our Mythic Plus. Looks like the Mythic Plus sims finished. This will tell us where our best items drop from each dungeon. And we'll scroll down to, again, the Droptimizer DPS. Quick note about trinket upgrades, right? Certain trinket upgrades may actually end up doing more damage. However, it's only going to be on use, and it's also going to add complexity to your game. So if you have stat stick trinkets that are simming well and the guides are recommending, it may behoove you to just keep them. For instance, Algathar Puzzle Box is a big upgrade for me. However, in order for it to be an upgrade, I have to use it, which is a X second cast. As a tank, I don't want to be stopping and casting that thing either A, while I'm tanking a raid boss, or B, in between pulls on Mythic Plus. Some people do, I don't. Same thing with Dragon Games equipment. It is an on use every 2 minutes that inflicts damage to my enemy. It also adds complexities. Like Dragon Games equipment puts balls on the field. You got to run into them and kick them at the target. It's a whole thing, right? So I'm just going to use stat 6. But anyways, if we look, we can see Seed of the Triumvirate from a +10 vault. The Myth track, right, will yield 327 additional DPS. What we're comparing this to is the raid piece. So we can see that Signet of the Starved Beast actually increases my DPS by 349. So that's going to be a bigger upgrade than that. So what we would do is we would essentially open a notepad, and hopefully I don't have anything terrible in my notepad here. Oh no, we just got some SimC text we're working on. And we could write down. So we know that our ring is going to be Signet of the Starved Beast, and that's going to drop off of Borasius. Right? So that's something we want. It gives us a high DPS increase. Important to note for the trinkets and for the rings, it's going to say the number of the slot. So it's going to say finger 2, trinket 1, etc. Also, sometimes when you click on this, it will do this weird thing. I don't know why it does that. If it happens, just hit refresh, and it'll give you your numbers back. When it says finger 2, it means the right finger slot. When it says finger 1, it means the left finger slot. Same with the trinkets, trinket 1, trinket 2. Clear as mud? Great. But yeah, what this does is allows you to target farm your pieces. So rather than, without the premium, going to a dungeon, clearing keys as usual, getting a piece of gear, and then running that sim, this will tell you where your next target farm should be, right? So for instance, Mythic, right? I want the, let's see, not rings, right? Because we just looked at rings. I want the Barbed Ymir Choker, right? I already have the Barbed Ymir Choker, but I don't have a myth track version of the Barbed Ymir Choker, right? So this is going to be 185 extra DPS for me. And I know that it's a Pit of Sauron 10, so now I can go run Pit of Sauron 10s until I get my Barbed Premier Choker. Otherwise, if I'm not using Void Cores and I'm just getting the heroic version of the Barbed Premier Choker, I will wait for my vault, and if this drops in my vault, then I instantly know that, hey, this is a huge upgrade for me. Same thing with all the other pieces. Catalyzed pieces can be literally any drop from any place. You guys know that. But yes, this is a powerful tool for letting you know what dungeons are going to have the most substantial upgrades for you. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it helped you understand Raidbots a little better and how to sim out your DPS and how to effectively hunt for your best in slot gear. Good luck with drops, and I hope you all have a great day.